Right then. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Loose Lips with Liku. Now, today filming is the first anniversary of me actually starting this podcast. So, thank you to all the listeners, subscribers, people that have hyped it up and whatnot over the past 12 months. Thank you very much. So, this time last year, I had current Warrington Wolves hooker Danny Walker. I've now got a former Warrington Wolves hooker who also played for Leigh, St Helens, Wigan, England, Great Britain, won multiple honours, multiple caps, 500 plus games in his career, and someone who I'm honoured to call a friend and honoured to call a mate. He has been described as many things, so I put a little bit of a guess who's out there yesterday all over my social media, and I've had a couple of messages come back. Let's see how he reacts to these. So we had one was Shandy Bass's best mate.
Yeah,
one, there's only one of this man, and there is only one of this man. There only ever will be one of this man. And his lovely wife Kate messaged me, and her description was someone who used to have her. So he's the man, the one and only Mr. Mickey Higham. Mickey, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. How have you been?
Yeah, no, pleasure to be on, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, going all right. Yeah, everything's okay at the moment. Keep cracking on as we do, and yeah, take the days and the weeks as they come, and but up to now, everything's all good.
Love that, love it, mate. Because I know we've obviously, before we get into what I talk about on the podcast, I know you've kind of had that change in career, so. A bit of context for those who don't know about Mickey, that he owned really successful gym in Leigh, and you've now changed career. Do you want to just have a little talk about that for us, mate?
Yeah, I've just moved into financial protection, basically. Critical illness cover, mortgage cover, income protection. Life cover. Just to be fair, it was coming. A change. Career path was coming, just because with the gym, after my ill health for the last few years, I'm had a good chat with my wife Kate, and she was just saying, listen, do you want to get out to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning 4 or 5 times a week and then going back at the night to the gym, which it was a brilliant job. It was great to run your own gym. The community there was brilliant and stuff, but it just got to a point after what had happened I had to think put my family and myself first. So yeah, a bit of a career change. I was looking at something, probably less stress on the body getting up and stuff. But then an old rugby colleague of mine, Ben Evans, he used to be at Warrington with Ben. He's a manager in the financial protection stuff, and he spoke to Kate and he said, would Mickey be interested in maybe coming on board working for me as, like an advisor role? And he said also what Mickey might have is a little bit of a story behind it, why it's for me crucial. You should have some kind of protection for yourself and your family. And so yeah, it was something that was quite close to me, meant something to me, because to be honest, if I didn't have any protection when I fell ill, I might have been a lot worse state now, because unfortunately I think when you fall ill or you're off work, the mortgage company and the bills, they don't stop when you're not well. They're not like unlucky. We'll pay your mortgage this year while you're ill. They still want the money for the, for your bills and mortgage. So yeah, it's something that interested me. It was something, and like I said, something that was close to me as well. So yeah, it's going all right. Good weeks, a bit slow weeks, still building it up, getting some, good client base and stuff. But no, really fresh start. It's gonna be a fresh start, fresh challenge, and I say I'm really enjoying it.
Good, and I know when. We had a little catch up, so I'll get onto it later on in terms of a little bit of a charity thing I did in your name. But I know you were obviously looking at that when we last talked. But at that point, you were looking at that career change. So, like I say, it's probably going to be more beneficial for yourself. And love that obviously you attack it like you always do, with just not bothered, get stuck in, and we'll go from there. So let's have a look. So my podcast is all about looking at people who I know who have gone through, like we said, they've done the high schooling. That's why I'm a high school teacher, and what they've gone on to do post 16, post college, uni, whatever they've done. So obviously, where legends are made, Bedford High School, the one
Correct.
and only. What did 11-year-old Mickey think when he turned up at those famous gates in Leigh?
Yeah, it was again probably like a lot of kids, unless you're really, really outgoing. It was a little bit daunting, Bedford High. Luckily I had some friends, that went to my old, my St. Peter's Junior School, and straight away at high school it was we caught the bus at the bottom of my road, bottom of Hume Road in Leigh on Wigan Road, and instantly made some friends who caught the buzz, and it was the buzz into Bedford, and off you go in the big world of high school. But yeah, no, it was I enjoyed my time at high school. I really did. I made some good friends. Still speak to a few now, and probably could have done better at high school. It was quite a common thing. Every school year report was, he's a good lad, but he's easily distracted and a bit cheeky. So that was a bit of a common theme. But yeah, no, I some people didn't like school. I quite enjoyed high school. It was good, and I feel like I don't know if it's changed these days. There didn't seem as much pressure back then as there is now for results, and whether it's I don't know. It might just be me thinking that the pressure seems a bit more these days. It was good back then.
No, and I think you obviously having your youngest Alex in the mixer at the minute, especially in year 11, he's obviously, you probably feel a little bit of that as well. But no, I think it's nice, obviously, because I know I love my time at Bedford. Was there any teacher that stood out for you in terms of? I can think of one in my head straight away, because anybody who's been at Bedford will know of this man. But is there anyone that kind of was like, you know what, they took me under their wing and they gave me not just academic lessons but a couple of life lessons as well?
Yeah, there was always one. Obviously, sport was always a big thing in my life, and I love at school and stuff. And I know if you remember the late Mr. Howarth, Ian Howarth, he was my PE teacher. Right. He coached the rugby team. He helped out with the town team when it was back then, the town team on Saturdays. And Mr. Howarth was it was a great role model for me. Maybe not been everybody's cup of tea at times, but obviously he favoured the sporty people. But brilliant for me. He helped me out and let me get away with a few things as well. It was a good man, and it was sad to have his passing. A good few years ago. He got a good turnout, and probably that showed what kind of a good man he was.
Yeah, he was. And that was the man I was referring to, because his last year was when I was in year 7, and I'll always remember that that daunting feeling, and then you go into the PE changing rooms and he picked me out straight away. He saw me last game and he just went, "Your old man played for Leigh, didn't he?" I went, "Yeah, yes sir." He went, "So you're a rugby lad then?" "Yes sir." "You'll do for me, lad."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
you'll do for me.
Well, I had obviously Mr. Thompson was more the football side when I was there,
yes.
And I think you get a bit of a like a name, don't you? When you go to high school, he's a good rugby players come from that school, so I was pretty sporty, and I was made captain of the rugby team and football team in year 7 and 8 in my year, and we played Bedford High away for the football team in the Lancashire Cup schools, and Rosebridge had a corner, went for clear, it scored an own goal, and we lost 1-0, I think. And Mr. Thompson come on the Monday, went, "I'm going to take the captaincy off you at football." I went, "Listen, thank God for that, no problem at all." But I can lay my claim that I did captain the football team as well, but for a short period. But yeah, they were good. I like the teachers; they were good.
Brilliant, love that. Lessons then, apart from obviously the main one of PE, is there any lesson that kind of surprised you in terms of, do you know what, I actually really like that? Now, whether it was because of the topic, the subject, wherever it is, or just the teacher that you got on with?
Do you know, I liked Spanish. I enjoyed the Spanish book because we had a teacher, and I don't think he's with us anymore, Mr. Cartledge. I don't know if he was there when you were there. He was really, really good, made it enjoyable. Kind of got it a bit. You were young kids, you messed around a bit. He were good like that. So Mr. Cartledge, and so when you've got a teacher that you kind of like, you probably tend to enjoy the lessons as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Spanish was a surprising one that I liked.
Viva España. It's coming good stead, that. All you need to know is dos cerveza, por favor.
That's in it. 2 beers enough, isn't it?
Correct.
Por favor.
All of it. So you go to, obviously, you spend your time at high school. You love your time at high school. Then where does Mickey go from kind of at year 11, age 16? Because I know you obviously started at Leigh in terms of the rugby side of things, but what was that kind of transition from kind of finishing high school into the big bad world?
Well, yeah, obviously I left, to be honest with you, you know, and I wouldn't advise any, you know, when I always say about kids, you know, when they're leaving school and stuff, what they want to do. To be honest with you, I think I got to that point in year 11 where I knew I wanted to be a rugby player, but it was, you know, obviously I'd not signed anywhere at the time, you know what I mean? I'd not, unless I'd just kind of agreed at maybe at Leigh, you know what I mean? Just in Leigh Academy, but yeah, I wasn't, to be honest with you, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I just wanted to play rugby, I'll be honest. And so anyway, I took an apprenticeship up with at the time it was BS Eaton. I think Sam and Baldwin had been an apprentice there. Paul Rowley had been an apprentice there. And and I remember going for the interview, and one of the owners, Brian Seddon, he was a Wigan and Brian. He went, "Can I just ask you something?" He went, "You're not one of these bleeding rugby players, are you? That always has time off." I said, "No, mate, no." I said, I played rugby at school and that. I said, "But no, not really." And anyway, I got the apprenticeship at BS Eaton. I've been working there, I don't know, 6 months, and I got picked for Great Britain Barlow under 18s, and we had to go to France for a week. So I was working with I can't think who I was working with at the time, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to be away this week," but he's going to go mad. So anyway, we managed to wing it for a week where every time the site manager came on, he went, "Oh, Mickey's down the bottom of the site working away," and that. And when they found out without that, I'll never know. But then, yeah, it got to a point where I think I'd just done 2 years, and I'd broke through in the first team at Leigh when I was young in the second year of my apprenticeship, and you know things went really well under Ian Millward, and one thing after another, I end up St Helens come in for me to offer me a contract. So I had to. I was never going to say no. Do you know what I mean? So I had to give me a notice into BS Eaton. And I remember he pulling me in. The boss, Brian, said, and he went, "You lying little bastard! You told me you weren't a good player." I said, "Listen, I'm sorry, mate. I probably weren't that good at the time. It's just," he said, "Listen, I wish you all the best, but almost, you know, he could have. He can't. I got his point though. He could have said, "Listen, I could have given that to somebody else with a proper apprenticeship, and they've done it." I said, "Yeah, I know that." But he went, "Listen, what? I wish you all the best." So yeah, it was another rugby player, you know, on the line of BS Eaton. I following her rules and said, "Baldwin."
Love it, brilliant. Because obviously, then you make that breakthrough at Leigh, and I remember my old man always said that you were going to be something special, because he had a couple of games with you and whatnot. And then obviously St Helens come calling. Would you arguably say probably most successful there in terms of just of winning that Super League, or what would you?
Yeah, it was obviously, you know, I suppose at Warrington it was 3 Challenge Cups, you know, 2 grand final defeats, but at Saints, you know, it was a grand final win. I was injured in the Challenge Cup final. It'd have been a cup final as well, but I don't know. It was obviously starting out in my professional career. I was young. I don't know. I had great times there. You know, I was loving what we were doing. We had a great team. You know, but yeah, there were good times at St Helens. It was a brilliant club. You know, still is. You know, I don't go down there much anymore. But it was fantastic. You know, and honestly, when I still remember my first day signing for St Helens. It's like yesterday. I remember it like yesterday. I walked into the gym. Honestly, I'd just left Leigh. I was about 11.5 stone. You know, little thing. And I walked in the gym, and Kevin Iro and Sonny Nettle were doing squats in this bar, and I was like, they looked like giants. Honestly, I was like,
the bar was bending as they were squatting.
Seriously, it were. I know, it's just Sonny Nettle's quads and Kevin's quad. I was like, how the effing hell am I going to like wrestle with these and compete with these? And you know, you get up to speed like anything, you do it. But yeah, honestly, I remember that first day and just had to get on with it. You know what I mean? Ian Millward said, "Listen, you know, you need to put weight on this and that. You've just got to get into it." And you know, that's always a challenge, and you know, I worked hard and, you know, managed to do all right.
Oh, brilliant. And so obviously I work in St Helens, so a couple of Saints fans obviously who I work with know yourself, and they were obviously saying like you're in that period of like a really, really strong side, because everywhere you looked it was just superstars. And then you look at, probably not the rugby league community probably do know this story, but the transfer from obviously Saints to Wigan is like the transfer from Liverpool to Man United, or like Arsenal to Chelsea. So obviously that kind of debacle happened, and ex-Bradford Bull, not Bradford Bull, then becoming a Wigan Warrior. Like, how was that? Like, obviously that would have been surely stressful.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. It was a tough period, like, and, you know, I remember going into Saints and I just said, listen, you know, we're going to come in for me. Because Daniel Anderson come in, he was brilliant for St Helens, but, you know, I was at a period in my, you know, career, I was getting on to like maybe 25. And, you know, Daniel, he was honest with me, Daniel. He said, listen, you know, you need to be starting. You're a first teamer. He said, I've got Kieran Cunningham still here. You know, I've got young James Roby coming through. Scott Moore was coming through as well. And so, yeah, you know, he was honest with me, you know, and I suppose that's what you want at times, even though it's not what you want to hear. So, you know, obviously in Millwall, he'd gone to Wigan then, and Basil got wind of that and said, listen, you know, I'd like to bring you here. So obviously I went into Saints, and it was Eamon McManus, the chairman there now, still, you know, a good fella, Eamon, you know, a great bloke. He just went, you're not going to Wigan. I said, I am. I've agreed. He went, you're not going there. He said, I'm not selling you to them. I was like, what's everything sorted? You know, it's round the corner. You know, everything works. He said, you're not going. So I said, right, okay. So my agent at the time, Andy Clark, luckily I was in the Great Britain squad for that Tri-Nations, and we went to Spain training for a week. So a lot of it got kind of sorted out while I was away, which was a bit of a godsend, really. Do you know? So I weren't in the firing line. So, yeah, anyway, Bradford did phone me as well, you know, and Nobby said, listen, we'd love to take you here as well. I said, listen, I've kind of agreed with Wigan. He said, well, so anyway, I think Bradford must have gone to Terry Newton, and basically I signed for Bradford, did a swap thing, and Terry Newton ended up going to Bradford. I went to Wigan. So, yeah, it's sad that, you know, somebody won't let you do what you want to do, but that's the rivalry in the teams, really, isn't it? So, but, yeah, we managed to get it done, and I remember when I first went to Wigan, I think we lost our first 6-7 games. I was like, shit, I should have gone Bradford here. I'd have been all right. But yeah, we turned it around a bit. But yeah, you know, still on the CV. You've played for Wigan Warriors, so yeah, it was all right.
Even that Wigan side, mate, had some like outstanding players. Was Trent Barrett there at the time?
Yeah.
With Trent Barrett, I believe. Brian Fletcher as well.
Yeah. Brian Fletcher, Phil Bailey come over. You know, we had obviously there's still Sean O'Loughlin, Harrison Hanson, you know, myself, Gazok. You know, it's Stuart Fielding come over. You know, we had probably, whether underachieved's the right word or what, I don't know. It didn't. You know, we went on a brilliant run in 2007. We nearly got to the grand final. I don't know if you remember the game. Was losing 30-0 at half time at Bradford. We come back.
That's the one.
Pat Richards got the goal. Yeah, it was.
My days, yeah, Pat Richards was there at the time as well.
Pat Richards, you know, like it. Yeah, we just kind of, I don't know whether it was a few of the lads just finding the feet, didn't quite connect, because I know, I think a year or two after I'd gone to Warrington, you know, Wigan ended up coming good. You're under Maguire, do you know what I mean? The Pat Richards got Man Steel, you know, they won grand finals. They were, so it was probably slaying some foundations them few years when I was there, you know, just unlucky we didn't quite get to a major final, which was disappointing. But yeah, it's, you know, still play for Wigan, so it's you know, it's a big club.
No, 100%. And then over to like I say, I'm a Warrington Wolves fan now because of yourself and Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Louis. Your time at Warrington, how was it? How was it playing for? Again, you've gone basically the three biggest clubs in the Northwest. Three probably the most successful clubs, probably in some form of order. Maybe Wigan first, if they're obviously they are the most successful. Like, how was the transition to Warrington? Was that kind of bit more straightforward, perhaps.
Yeah, well, yeah. But originally it was honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's nothing ever seems to run smooth with me at all. I don't know why, because I think I'm all right. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. But yeah, I was literally I got told that Wigan weren't renewing my contract, and I'd been picked for England for the World Cup, so I was in good form. I was playing well for England, for Wigan. I got Tony Smith picked me for the World Cup in 2008, and Brian Noble told me that they were bringing another hooker in called Mark Riddell from Australia, so you'd probably go to. So yeah, it was a bit worrying really, because at the time, later in the season, a lot of teams have already done the
business,
the signings. They've got the salary caps in order, and they were like, I remember speaking again to my wife. I'm like, struggling for club here. I'm like, I'm an England international. I'm like, so like, might have dropped down a division here or something. I'm like, wow, is this happening? So anyway, did a bit of spoke to a few people, and an opportunity come up at Warrington, and I don't know, I just always thought Warrington, it's a bit of a sleeping giant really. They've always had the squads, they're the big club, and they never quite probably achieved what they should have really. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that in a bad way, but so yeah, I thought when the opportunity, it was probably down to Huddersfield and Warrington, the last two clubs that came in really. Yeah. So again, I spoke to Paul Anderson, because I did a year at Saints with Paul Anderson. Blue with the ball, big ball. Yeah. And he rang me and said, listen, I'd love to take a year at Huddersfield, you know what I mean? I said, right, just leave it with me a bit. And Warrington coming, again, just logistically, Warrington closer to home, it kind of works. So yeah, I took the opportunity at Warrington, and again, different part of my career, getting a bit older, maturing more, game changes a little bit, and had some really good times,
Yeah, 100%.
Three challenge cups, and we got to 2 grand finals, didn't quite get a grand final ring with Warrington, which is still a loser now. It's something that's, I think,
because I know you all, because when we first started working together, we'll get onto that later. And I remember watching obviously the podcast with yourself and Woody that you did during a few years ago. And yeah, I remember you saying that one of the kind of, not regrets as such, but one of the biggest kind of irks is that 2013 final, because honestly, arguably one of the best Warrington teams that's been in the Super League era for definite. And just that, I remember you saying it was that Pat Richards try before half time. If you go in at 16-2, it's different to 16-6, and that kind of, I remember you discussing that, and it was just, and I think it was when you had Sean Wayne on as well, so it kind of, and
we couldn't stop momentum the second half. We were flying first half, and you know what? We had some really, really bad luck with injuries. Joe Monan went down, Steph Ratford went off. You can't put your bench for a winger and a standoff or fullback, wherever you were playing. You know what I mean? You can't sacrifice 2 middles to put backs on the bench. So it was just so unlucky. And people like said Moz, Gaz Carvel, I think Brazy ended up at fullback. You could just see it were again. It was our day again, meant to be, and it was it still haunts me. It's
bonkers like that. How it was just amazing, that team, because you had Woody, Chris Hill, and then the hooker was either yourself or Michael Monaghan, and then you'd do a front row switch, and it'd just be Gaz Carvel, Adrian Morley, and then the one of other yourself or Michael Monaghan. It was just ridiculous, and I always say now that pack was just, it was a joke, because Ben Westwood was at his peak of his powers, and then
Simon Grix was immense. You had Brazy, Richie Myler, Ryan Atkins on. Chris Bridge still playing well. It was Steph Ratchford. It was a team full of class but tough as well. But we just couldn't quite get the grand final over the line.
And like I say, it's one of them that it's still haunts, but it's obviously one of the highlights, even though it was a bad highlight, as it were.
Yeah.
2015 comes along. I believe it was May 2015. And I'll set the scene for everyone because I don't know if you know this, Mickey. I'm on my, I think I'm on my lunch at uni. I'm across the road of Wigan and Leigh. And obviously, with me being in the reserves, the academy, I hear that Mickey Higham on his way to Leigh. And I'm sat in Morrison's on my lunch at uni, just getting stuff done. Two blokes walk in. Ready. It's Mickey Higham. Now, as a Warrington fan, I'm like, shit, it's Mickey Higham. Mickey Higham. And I remember coming over. I remember you coming over. I'm there getting into my full English. Scrambled egg, not fried egg.
You're in the cafe at Morrison's, were you?
Cafe.
I remember it.
And he comes in and he goes, and Riddy goes, all right, young Tom. And then I goes, you all right, Riddy? And then you go, what the hell is that you? Is that young Elliot? You all right, young Elliot? I was like, he knows my name. Like proper fanboy moment, because obviously I didn't know the full extent of obviously you knowing my dad and whatnot coming through that side of things. So it was like, oh, like I said, a bit of a pinch me moment as a Warrington fan, but you signing for Leigh was a massive deal. Like it was a huge thing because obviously you've been Warrington playing really well past couple of years, and then you come over to Leigh. How did that really come about?
Yeah, again, it didn't run smooth. Again, it was it was tough because I know, I'm never really, when people ask me about it, how it happened, I'll tell them, but I don't go around spouting off. It was a tough time, because I was playing well. I was at Warrington, and what a lot of people didn't know that basically, without telling me, I don't think I was getting a contract at Warrington because for one, they didn't have enough on the salary cap, and and so I think there wasn't enough money there for me to carry on. But I didn't get told that, and almost as though I got made out to be a bad boy, like jumping ship middle of the season for Leigh. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
it was really tough. I had my reasons. Again, sometimes you've got to put your family and yourself first at times, haven't you? And it was, as much as it was tough, it was something that Tony Smith was saying to me, well, I thought you'd be retiring at the end of the season. I thought, well, so why would I retire when I'm playing well?
Yeah.
Warrington had brought Darrell Clark in. He was looking probably the long-term hooker, but I was still starting every week with Darrell coming off the bench or vice versa. We were still playing together, so it was not as though. But then when the opportunity come, it was like, Rolls and Derek rang me and said, listen, we want you to come. We want you to give us a push for Super League, and we still why you. You've got some years left in you. We'd love you to come. So I just thought this could be an opportunity I just can't turn down. And I probably had to dig my heels in a little bit with Warrington because obviously, they're not probably going to want you let you go halfway through a season. Brad Dwyer was the young hooker at the time. He was on loan at London. But, they managed to get Brad back and, Tony eventually agreed to the move. And it was, we're left on really unsavoury terms, which was disappointing because, I'd had 6.5 brilliant years with Tony and, and got really close. And, but whether Tony was probably a little bit like disappointed I'd decided to move on. But, from what potentially retiring at Warrington at 34 to playing until nearly 39 at Leigh, I had a good few more years, playing rugby, which I wanted to play as long as I could, you know what I mean? So, it was a tough little period, really. Never experienced it before like that, and I had to make some tough decisions and got upset at times. It was tough. I was in tears a few times, if I'm honest. Making the change, and I think once I made it, it was that relief, and it was lovely to come back to Leigh. And we didn't quite make the promotion the first year. I come back in the mid-eights, but the chance to get the year after and Rolls make me captain in the 2016. Well, it was Rolls at the time before he left. Dukesy took over the 2016. To captain Leigh to promotion to Super League was all worth that little bit of a tough period to captain your own time team into a Super League. It was fantastic.
Yeah, to stay obviously resilient as well through that time in terms of, because let's be honest, from the transitions from club to club, they haven't been smooth. So it's almost like surely you'd have taken kind of understanding from the previous transitions and been like, do you know what? Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's a bit crap, but I can get through it. I can get through it, and I get my reward at the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. I almost come a bit accustomed to like things are not going to run smoothly, so I kind of set myself to it. But yeah, you know, it was a move that I had thought about. You know what I mean? Didn't really whether thought he'd never come around. And like I said, I think when Leigh come knocking, it was just that too good of opportunity to turn down. You know, I still wanted to play with it, so I had a little bit of rugby left in me, not like as though you've missed the boat, you've come a bit too late, and you can see that he's past it, so to speak. So yeah, I had a good few years, you know, in me. So yeah, it was glad to be back and finish there.
No, bro, love it. And then the dreaded 2017, the £1 million game against Catalan. I was there, and we'd kind of obviously by that time I was working at the community trust, so we were I was in and out of seeing you guys in full time with Super League and kind of the ups and downs of that. Some of the performances that were not brilliant, some of the amazing performances, and then it comes to Catalan at home, kind of. And anybody who's ever watched rugby league will have seen that game and look back at obviously the interview you did yourself and kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of put you into retirement, if I remember rightly at that time.
Yeah, it did. It was heartbreaking to that game. I still think to this day that they didn't want Catalan go down. Honestly, I don't. I really thought they're not know what to do if Catalan go down.
No, and there was that feeling obviously around at the time, and I know obviously they went on and they kind of had the success off the back of that with the Challenge Cup the year after and Super League Grand Final appearances, but that game was again almost like kind of a carbon copy of the 2013 Grand Final for you. Turn of Leigh were dominant that first half, and then maybe not so much injuries, just the kind of turn of the tide, a few decisions, etc. And obviously the kind of after that final whistle, we obviously know the interview with Sky Sports, and then
I found it tough. Honestly, I did. I found it tough to hold my emotions in. Yeah, because that's how much it meant to me. Though, you know what I mean? I did everything I could to help keep our town in Super League, and it was it was a really really sad day, and and then what followed was a bit of a tough period, but it's. We didn't finish bottom that season as well. I think Widnes was bottom. We might have been second, bottom, or third. We had some real good results early in the year. We're beating, turned Warrington over, Saints,
Wigan. I remember the big game.
Yeah, Huddersfield, Salford. We had some really good wins. We just beat Hull away. We just probably when it got to the business end of the season, we didn't quite back it up again. So it was. It was an heartbreaking end to a tough season, but it's part of sport. It happens in sport, with the relegation and promotion was in at the time, and fortunately, we weren't good enough on the day.
And that's kind of like you said, that sport when it's all said and done. So you're into kind of semi-retirement, and I take you under my wing, as it were. So. I remember just again, it was a bit of a mad moment just finding out that if I remember rightly, there was kind of talks of this happening anyway, if like it was kind of a contingency plan and whatnot, but I just remember that Mickey's coming working for us now, and it was just like, what? And it was like, Elliot is going to be working with you on the high school program, and I was like, all right then, fair enough. And that was it then. It was a bit of a mad moment, wasn't it?
It was. It was period. Yeah, I don't know what it was like. Obviously, got the phone call off Dukesy at the time. I was away on holiday in Turkey, and he said, "Listen, tough call. But I'm going to have to, we'll have to release you since relegation." And I thought, I don't know, I thought it was the wrong call. I thought I still could have helped rebuild the team, you know what I mean, and still played a part in maybe getting back up. And so I was disappointed with that, with the call. you know, I'd been good to him. I'd come back, you know, I'd give it me all, and I felt like I still had something to offer. But you know, whether it come from higher, above, or whatever, and yeah, so it was a tough call, and I was quite angry with it, a bit bitter to be honest. And to be fair, you know, the community, you know, we end up like speaking about it and end up, you know, offering me. They were really good to me though, you know. They could see that I still had aspiration to play, but he said,
Yeah.
you know, she was just, bloody hell, I've had a blank. What's her name now at the community?
Hannah.
Hannah, Hannah was brilliant. She was so good. You know, she said, "Listen, you're a great fit for us. You know, good profile. You know, just kind of work here as long as you want or whatever you're going to do, really." You know, so yeah, and you know, I did enjoy it, but I just still had that little burn desire in the back of my head that I wanted to play. But yeah, no, we had some good times. You know, I remember we had some days where we were. I don't know if you remember when we moved the office and was you still there then? We got into desktop tennis, knocking the balls over the tennis. Honestly,
No, I wasn't in that day. I was.
Yeah, you were.
Back at uni.
We'd moved across the way. Oh,
yeah.
Honestly. You know, we had some good times though. It was good though. I enjoyed it.
No, we had a good laugh, and like I say, we went out into the high schools, and we had. I'll never forget our lunches. I'll never forget our early morning sessions. God,
remember it? I had you on the watt bike, didn't I?
Oh no, that watt bike is something that I'll never ever forget.
Yeah.
I'll never.
No.
I don't think I'll ever forgive you. I've forgotten it because I've had to, because it gives you PTSD. A watt bike.
Yeah.
I remember coming off it and I was green.
Yeah, you
at
were.
One point.
You did go green one morning. Yeah. It was nice to see.
But then he turned around to me. I remember you saying, "Come on, I'll treat you for your dinner."
Yeah.
Goes over and he comes back with 2 full chickens.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And a block of butter and barms and salad. And
Yeah, no.
There's your lunch, pal.
It was a good day.
Good day. And then obviously we went over to Cronton College. We did like a kind of CPD session. I remember it was Craig Richards was there.
Yeah.
And we were halfway through the kind of talk, as it were. Mickey's phone's buzzing. Mickey's phone's going off. Next minute, he's out the door, comes back in, and we were on our break. He goes, "I'm going back. I'm going back. Like the king has returned."
Yeah.
We said, first of all, we've got to go and show these lot how we coach first. How me and you do it.
Yeah.
And how was that had that itch been kind of scratched when you got that phone call, or was there just, did the kind of, like I said, did that bitterness go away, or was there still?
Yeah, it did. I'll be honest. Yeah, it was before I went back. I know Kieran Purtle had took the job because Duke's here. I know I think we were relieved of his duties, and so Kieran come in, and basically I said to Kieran, I said, "What are you thinking? You know, do you want?" Obviously, I didn't sure whether I was going to play again. I said, "Do you want me to jump on board, help out with the coach and that?" Kieran said, "No. If I'm honest with you, no." I said, "I'm going to do it all attacking defence. I'm going to put all my efforts into." I said, "Right, okay." Well, I said, "I'll be honest with you, mate." I said, "Well, I've been speaking to Chris Chester at Wakefield." I said, he wants an experienced 9. I'm probably going to have a ride up to Wakey and have a chat about sorting a deal out there." I had spoke to funny you mentioned this, because I was just talking to somebody today, about John Keir's passing.
Yes.
He was my first international coach, John. He took us to South Africa, great under 21s. We toured Tonga and Fiji with England Air. What a brilliant fella. Yeah, real sad to hear on Sunday about his passing. He was a great, proper,
rugby league man is probably the word.
Yeah, exactly that. And anyway, yeah, I spoke to John Keir about going to Bradford at the time, because Bradford had gone back down. Yeah, so I had a couple of options, and so I said to Kieran, I said, "Listen, mate, if you don't be coaching there, I'm going to go to Wakefield tomorrow." He went, "Well, what about if you come out to retirement and play for us at Leigh?" I said, "Right, done. All right, I'll do that." So yeah, that was in. To be honest, it was that. Just got that bit of fire back in my belly, that burning desire, and yeah, I jumped at the chance because, like I said, I still wanted to. I wasn't ready for finishing yet, even though my legs were starting to pack in a little bit. I still feel I had that leadership and that experience to help the Leigh team.
Yeah, definitely, and it was it was 100% a transition side, because when I spoke to Riddy and I spoke to Greg about it, that it's a completely different outfit that went out in 2017, but it's a bunch of young lads that, almost like you said with the Wigan side, kind of built the foundations ready for what would then transpire in terms of post-COVID, in terms of 22 onwards, the Leopards movement, etc. So that kind of finishing at Leigh, finishing where you started, must have been a nice moment, nice surreal moment.
Yeah, it was, because when I come back, when the Kieran Perth last did come out, we missed out on the playoffs by a point that year.
That's right.
I still think that Ben Reynolds' goal went over at Magic Weekend. Summer bash against Toronto, and he disallowed it, and that point, not getting a point that game, cost us a playoff spot. Which, again, I don't know. It's fine margins, isn't it? It's little things that happens. And so end of that season, Derek wasn't happy with, like, the squad he built with like, I think Pete Matejci come over, Bodine Thompson, Judson. They had a bit of a star-studded team in the championship, and again, by Derek's standards, we'd underachieved, and so it kind of went really, really bad at the end. And I thought, Christ, this could be the end for Leigh. Anyway, Duff's come in that year. We rebuilt a team in about 6 weeks, and it was my last year that, and I managed to go out on my terms in my last year, and we got to the playoffs and lost to Featherstone. And from where that season ended to finish the year after, it was, I'm glad I got kind of a bit of a...
The send-off you deserve.
Yeah, not the fairy tale ending, getting to a £1 million game potentially, or a grand final, but I managed to, to sign off at Leigh, and so yeah, it was a fitting end. It was emotional, and yeah, but say it's got to come to an end sometime.
Of course it does. And finishing, as like you said before, and playing as long as you can before the body packs up. Playing to 39 is a mega achievement. Getting 500 games is, not many people have done that. There's not many folk out there that can say they played 500 rugby league games, professional rugby league games in their career, and you are one of those people, mate.
Yeah, no, it's a nice milestone. I remember getting I think I reached it. I think we had a Huddersfield in the Super League.
Away, I believe.
Yeah. I think we ended up losing that game, but it was nice. And Harry and Alex, my two lads, walked out. It was a nice moment. And I think a couple of years after, I managed to. I think it was Barrow where in the championship. I think I got 550th game. So yeah, it was. Played some games, and that's probably why my body is knackered now. Yeah, probably went on a season too long, but I suppose when you love something that much, you want to try and do it as long as you can. So yeah, it's a privilege to play that many games, and yeah, it's live my dream, as they say.
100%. Retirement happens. You go into coaching, I believe, and that was a couple of different clubs, if I'm right in saying, as well as running the gym, of course.
Yeah. Obviously, I had the gym running. I said Duff's. We stayed on that year. Duff's. I went on to the S&C for the first year on the Duff's, and we'd got really primed for a season to attack it. And COVID hit us, unfortunately. I think we'd won our first 4 games, and we were just putting teams to the sword. We had a great team. We're a bit hybrid, a few part-time lads, a few full-time, and we were flying. And unfortunately, COVID hit, and we never recovered that season. And then we picked it back up, got more into the coaching side the year after, because I had aspirations to test myself as coaching as well. And it was the year when you put a bid in to get in Super League, and I think it was ourselves, Toulouse, somebody else, and we got the bid, and I don't think we had the squad right to go up that year.
Yes.
So, it could have been different. We played Wigan first game at Ellen Road when it was still no crowds, and
I think
a bit of magic from one of the Wigan players just cost us a win, and it could have been a different season. But yeah, it was a tough year that year. We had a squad that weren't quite, I think, for the rigours of Super League week in, week out. It was too tough. So yeah, end up fizzling out a little bit, to be honest. Finished that year. Chris Chester was coming in. He had a chat with Chris. He said, listen, obviously I think we're going to bring Adrian Lamb in. To be fair, it was a bit disappointing because he wouldn't name his name. I'm like, come on, mate. We all know who's coming in.
We know it's Adrian Lamb.
you don't need to keep it from me, mate. He said, yeah, it's all right. We'll try and find you a role. I said, listen, don't try and find me a role. I'm not lowering myself. I didn't mean in a bad way. I said, I'm not lowering myself down to like, you're finding a job for me. I said, listen,
I'm all in, or
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I said, I get it. Managers come in, they want their own thing, and so so kind of parted ways that way. And it's, I've probably gone back to being a bit of a Leigh fan now and watching. It was nice to go. Took my two lads to Wembley, had the weekend when they won the Challenge Cup, and it's so we enjoy watching the rugby. And now I'm helping out my eldest Harry's at Swinton, so I've helped Anthony Mirridge come on board there at Swinton and got a bit more of an assistant coach role there, and he seems to be really happy with the stuff they're doing, and hopefully we're turning a bit of a corner there, because it's a tough league, for them teams, them League One teams that have gone into the Championship. It's a tough ask for them, so they're training hard, they've got smiles on faces, and they're all playing for each other. So I'm enjoying that, and obviously I do a bit of coaching with my youngest team, Alex at Leigh Miners, which is really, really passionate for the kids rugby. I love it. I love coaching, and that'll be a shame when we finish at the end of this season. So keep myself busy.
No, 100%, and I know you like to keep yourself going and keep yourself busy, and then, like I say, obviously I don't want to go too much into it, because obviously we know anybody who's rugby league or not rugby league, or just a person within Leigh or Warrington, obviously know what you've gone through. Obviously, how are things now? Is you're all good? I know we spoke earlier on before we started filming.
Yeah, it's all under control at the moment. It's not gone; it's still there. But I have regular full scans every 12 weeks, and I saw the professor the other week. I've not seen him for a while. The professor who I'm under his care at the Christie's team, and we had a meeting the week, and he was saying, he said, you're looking really well, and your scans are really showing good signs and that. So basically said, you're a bit of a glowing example for us that this treatment does work, and you be smashing it basically. So so we had some good news, and still have my treatment. I have my treatment every 4 weeks. Keep doing that for probably at least another 12 months, but every 4 weeks, it's a small price to pay in it for your health and stuff. So keep positive, keep moving on, and like I said, keep myself busy as well, which helps.
No, of course, and obviously
mind active as well as the body. There's nothing worse when you get into a bit of a rut and you start slumping and feeling sorry for yourself. It can be a really downward spiral. So I've never tried to get into that, and even through them tough times the last couple of years when I've been looking back, I was ill at times. I was really ill, and probably my attitude, where I probably didn't think as bad as I was, has probably helped me really. Well, not that I weren't masking it. I was trying to stay positive, and I'll be all right with this. And so it's I think having a positive attitude's really, really helped me, and going all right.
Brilliant, mate. And like I say, it's that almost rugby player grit, determination, positivity. Like I say, not trying to obviously mask it, but being positive, being, like I said, keeping yourself busy and whatnot. And I know obviously when we spoke, because I know you obviously spend a lot of time with the Christies, and I remember ringing you and asking you, could myself and a good friend of mine at work, Dave Stanley, could we walk a marathon for you and in your name? And I know you were obviously more than happy for us to do that, and I watched your obviously interview on the bench, and me and Dave were both inspired by it, almost in terms of this man's played for both our clubs. He's played for the team that I played for my hometown team, and it was an honour, obviously, mate, to do it in your.
I can only ever be grateful for things like people like yourself and your mate who did little things that they don't go unforgotten. And it's the amount of people that rallied round. It was it was touching, and it means a lot that people care for you.
No, 100%, and it just showed the kind of the impact you had on the game almost, because there was from all around the globe almost. It felt like that rallied round, and that's what rugby league does. It rallies round its people. It rallied round yourself, and obviously Rob Burrow and all the amazing superstars that have gone in week out and played. And yeah, just love hearing that you're doing well, mate. Because
Yeah, no, it's it's good. It's nice to hear. Like I said, I just think that's why I just think our sport's the best sport in the world, not just for the game we play, but the people who are involved in it, the people who support it. I think everybody just like them little things like when there's people in times of need, and even people who don't know you that well, they're more than happy to help you and support you and encourage you. It's it's good people who are involved in rugby league, and I think that's just why for me it makes it just that bit better than any other sport, in my opinion.
No, and I wholeheartedly back that opinion, 100%. Right, that is honestly, that's been one of the best. Just obviously, because you know my thoughts. You are a hero in so many of the senses of the word hero. And I know you probably won't like me saying it because you're a humble man, Mickey. But thank you for coming on. Before I let you go and go and enjoy another brew or whatever it is, bit of sleep. 10 quick fire questions. So I do this with every guest. It's on the spot thinking.
Yeah.
Let's go. So number 1, sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Go-to savoury on the caveat to that.
Crisp.
Oh, nice. Bit of a crisp. Nice, like it. Number 2, best stadium you've played in? Because I know you've played in some stadiums.
Yeah, I know. It's Wembley's brilliant. Old Trafford Rose. I've played at Suncorp at Brisbane. I'll go Old Trafford for the atmosphere.
Very good. Love that. Number 3.
Hilton Park.
Hilton Park, the one and only.
Yeah, can't forget that. Go
on. Home, as some people say.
Yeah.
Number 3, go-to karaoke song.
Tina Turner, Simply the Best.
Simply the best. Got all the old players in the background in the video. Love it.
Yeah, I know. Good video.
Number 4, one meal you could eat for the rest of your life. You can't have any other meal, just one meal.
I'll probably go a good old Sunday dinner.
Oh, all trimmings.
So yeah.
Correct.
Almost like a Christmas dinner. Pigs in blankets, stuffing. Yeah. I can eat that every day.
Oh, nice. Number 5, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
All day. I know you take that dog of yours here, there, and everywhere. Fittest dog in the world.
Yeah, I know.
Number 6, hero. Can be any walk of life. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah. Well, obviously, sporting was always a sporting background for me, and probably Ellery Hanley was one of the reasons I wanted to be a rugby player. Watching Ellery Hanley grow up, and just on that, I had a bit of fan crush, and this is what I'm going back to. Like, I know we're just going off quickly here, but this is what rugby league's like. We went to the grand final last year, and me and Kate and the kids come, and Adrian Morley brought his kids, and we got looked after. We're up in the lounge with
very nice.
With the prawn sandwiches and all that. And anyway, Moz comes in and Ellery Hanley walks into the door, and I'm like, "Oh, Ellery Hanley's there." I said to our Alex and Harry, I said, "That's my rugby hero there walking." I said, "Yours, Alex? What? Nathan Cleary? Harry, what's yours?" I don't know, whoever. I said, "That's mine." And Moz went, "Just give us a sec. I'm going to go and say over." And anyway, Moz brings him over, and I'm like, "Oh shit." Anyway, I said, "Hey mate, how are you doing?" He went, honestly, the first thing he said to me, went, "Don't worry about me." He said, "How are you doing?" He said, "My thoughts and prayers have been with you. We've been thinking about you. I hope you're well." I was like, wow. I didn't really know him well, but for one of your sporting heroes to ask how you were after what's been going on, I just thought that'll do for me. So anyway, yeah.
Wow. But side note to that, I remember I've only met Moz twice. Once when I was at Oldham, he came down and did a chat for us at one of our training sessions when I was at Oldham before we played in the final against Keighley. The second time was when Warrington played at Bolton Wanderers in the semi-final Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Louis Anderson again come through whilst we were at Catalan. I was in prawn sandwich brigade, me and Ebbs with my wife, and I just proper fanboy. I went, Eb, that's Moz. Adrian Morley. She was like, go and ask him for a picture. I was like, oh, he's massive. I'm asking for a picture. And I think I turned into kind of 11-year-old Elliot. And then,
it's mad, isn't it?
Excuse me, Adrian, can I have a picture, please? He was like, and Morsey was like another foot taller than me. And he was like, yeah, mate, of course you can. I think he'd had a few. So
oh yeah, he likes it. He likes us up. But yeah, do you know, he's one of my closest friends now, Moz, and through my tough times, he was one of them who he'd ring me nearly every other day, check on me. Yeah, good. He's a good man.
No, and you can see that in everything he does.
Yeah,
brilliant, more guy. Number 7. This will be another tough one, actually. I think I'm going to do kind of two-parter to it. Best player you've played with, best player you've played against. That is a tough. I know it's a tough one.
What do I start here? Though I've got Timmy Street when I was young. I've got Sean Long, Kieran Cunningham, Paul Sculthorpe, Paul Wellens when I was at Saints. I've got Sean Loughlin, Trent Barrett at Wigan, Adrian Morley, Ben Westwood, Leigh Breeze at Warrington. Yeah,
you could name about 3 best.
I could probably name a 13 and 4 subs as well. Yeah. So,
and a second team and a third.
But I don't know. I don't know really. How do I don't know. For impact wise, maybe Trent Barrett when he come to Wigan now, he just took our team by the scruff of the neck and almost got us to a grand final. He was a player. He was a player, tough as well for an half. But then, maybe do I use? Don't know. When I went to Warrington, maybe Moz was somebody I aspired to. We trained together. We pushed each other hard in training. Moz, we went to battle. Yeah, so I don't know if I go maybe Trent Barrett and Adrian Morley as a 1 and 2. There's plenty more as well. Against, I always thought Jamie Peacock was a tough to play against. Honestly, it was like tackling a lamppost. Honestly, or a letterbox. He was solid. He was solid. And he just keep running at you, keep turning up. That's why he was a leader. Yeah, so
like almost tackling an IKEA wardrobe with elbows and pointy elbows and pointy
100%.
knees.
100% that perfect example. Yeah.
Because he, again, growing up watching that Bradford side in the early 2000s and going to Leeds, just nuts.
Yeah, he was a player.
Number 8, back in time or into the future?
Back in time.
Historical reason or just to go and reminisce?
I don't know. Just go back and be able to do it all again. Yeah, back in time.
I love it.
Have another crack at it.
I love it. Number 9, one piece of advice you'll live by, or one piece kind of something you think, do you know what? I've always lived by that.
Do you know, I always say to if I do any speaking or I speak to certainly the younger generation, I always said, just work hard at what you do, but have a smile on your face while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So I just think they go hand in hand. If you're enjoying what you're doing, it's almost sometimes it's not a job, is it? Or, for example, I just think work hard, but have a smile on your face as well.
Do everything with a smile. Nice. What a good advice.
Because you never know what's around the corner, do you?
No, of course you don't.
You don't.
Okay, last one. I'm magic now. I can grant you one wish. What would it be? And don't say have just to please Kate.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. I'll think of something else then. I don't know really. It's tough on that. One wish. I don't know. I can grow old gracefully and watch my family grow up. I think I what I mean. I probably one wish now to enjoy life even more so, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It probably might have been a different answer a few years ago, but I think now it's just cherish what I've got really, and watch it flourish.
What a beautiful note to end. this podcast on, mate. What a beautiful note to
I
end
get
it.
emotional at the end, I know.
No. Do you know what? It's almost you in a nutshell, mate. Just thinking of others, making sure that everyone else is where they should be, how they should be.
Yeah.
That's you in a nutshell, mate, and that's what makes you you.
No, thank you.
Honestly, I've since starting this podcast, I've always wanted to get you on. And
I know we've talked about it loads, we've just not got around to it. I know, so it's I'm glad we've done it. It's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Honestly, it's been a good laugh, and it's been really insightful for me because watching you as a kid growing up and seeing you play and getting to obviously know you from when you first came back to Leigh and then working with you and you flogging me in the gym.
I know.
It's been a pleasure, mate. It's been an absolute
pleasure. No, it has. Yeah, it's I said obviously we don't see as much anymore, but it's you meet some good people along the way, don't you? And I think the ones you do, them good people, you do remain friends with them and stay in contact, even though might not be every week, every month, but it's they're there, don't they? And do you know, just on it, I forgot to say before when you said about your dad, your dad was probably coming to the end of his career when I first broke through, and I always remember we played him. We were probably playing the A team back then at Leigh, and I had your dad and I had John Costello as my two props, and I was 18-year-old little 19 whippersnapper just broke into A team, and I remember my dad saying, he said, "Hey, they looked after you. It was like your two bouncers, look at your two doormen looking after you, your two minders." So I remember it fondly. Good people like that. Do you know what I mean? That kind of they set you on your way. They keep you grounded. Like your dad and John, people like that. They really, it's good people, man. It's
no, definitely. No, I know that. I know my dad speaks highly of you, and I know when we've obviously spoke, you spoke highly of him, John, Timmy, all the old guard that I know as Leigh Rugby League Football Club. But honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure and absolute joy to have you on, mate. And
I've really enjoyed it on your 1 year anniversary too. I'm very honoured, mate. It's been good. Really, really enjoyed it.
And send my love to Kate, to the boys as well, because I know. And last little story before I let you go, I do remember having to come round to your house after a Mad Monday because you were in work with us the next day. I remember knocking on and Kate going, "He's up there somewhere.
Oh,
I'll kick him out now, don't worry."
I was rough that week. I was rough that week. I do miss them, and them Mad Mondays. I do miss them for that bit of have a laugh and that, but I don't think I've got one in me anymore.
That's again, the body won't let you do it.
No.
Oh, right. Thank you to the man, the myth that is Mickey Higham, and thank you to everyone that followed me from day one. You've listened to the podcast. You've hyped it up. You've liked it. You've subscribed. You've given me wonderful messages both online and in person. So I will put endear to get more guests as good as Mickey. Might have to tap into Mickey's phone book to help me out with that one. But honestly, thank you for listening, and I shall see you very, very soon. I will just stop.